Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
So my first question for you is, what's the most expensive myth in sales today?
I think equating more calls, meaning more sales, and then going and hiring more people to make more calls is a really expensive mistake in B2C or a small B2B operations.
Okay. What's the fix for that, in your opinion?
In today's environment, you need to make sure that you're contacting your customer or your prospect at the right time, and you need to make sure that they're actually picking up. You drilling into their phone with call after call is not going to help you. You calling them much more is not going to help you. You um, calling more people and a bigger list is not going to help you. You just want to make sure that when you're calling out, first you're calling the right people. They have some sort of interest in the product or service that you're selling, and when you call, they're picking up.
How can we make sure that the prospect is actually picking up?
So at Aloware, we offer a branded calling service, which shows your name and logo on the call that you're making, on the outbound call that you're making. And if I assume the leads that you're calling is opt-in, if the leads are not opt-in, just don't call them and end of the story. But if the lead is opt-in and they want to hear about you, they want to hear about your product or service, they signed up on your website, they clicked on your meta ad, you use an automation to fire off an Aloware call, and the call shows your name, your logo, and very soon the reason for calling and what you want to present to them. That's one thing. We also do have a little utility built into our application called Follow the Sun for people who are operating global teams or across the US, that you're in New York, it's 7 a.m. your time, but you don't want to be calling up California and vice versa. So our platform manages your leads and puts them in the right order. So when you call them up, it's at the right time. It shows up with a local number that increases the chance of them picking up. You're not calling up California people with a New York number. Your brand shows up, your name shows up. Very soon your reasoning will show up. If they don't pick up, our system detects that it's a voicemail. System leaves a voicemail or you leave a voicemail for them. You fire off a text introducing yourself, introducing your service, increase your callback ratio. And over time, you increase your chances of being picked up and essentially your delivery rates.
So does this branded calling also means that the numbers are not getting flagged as a spam?
Numbers being flagged as a spam is a whole category of questions, like how it happens, and depends on your traffic patterns, how many calls you're making. The carriers are not really happy about making a lot of calls, a lot of especially short calls, because people are not picking up out of one phone number. So we do have another service that deals with that called local presence. It rotates your numbers based on where the prospect is. Branded calling is not a guaranteed fix to numbers not calling up as spam, but it fixes the main cause, which is not being picked up to begin with, or prospects just setting their phone to auto reject your call. And those things help a lot preventing your phone numbers from gaining a bad reputation. So you treat the problem versus having to deal with the symptom at a later point in time.
If the number is already got flagged as spam or scam, what should we do? Should we just change the number or can we fix it?
You can change the number, but you will essentially fall into bad practice that is called snowshoeing, which you don't want. The carriers will pick up that this is you, and then you're just prolonging the problem, right?
Oh, okay.
Best way is we do have this utility, this package called NumberGuard, which looks at the outbound caller IDs that you're currently using and looks at how it's showing up on people's phones. It actually does have physical phones across carriers. They make calls, they see how it comes up, they take a picture of it, they analyze the picture. So if you suspect that your numbers are coming up as a spam likely, you put it through this process weekly, daily, monthly, runs a report, and then if this is the case and the carriers are flagging your numbers as spam likely, there is a remediation process in which we on your behalf would contact the carriers, and try to remediate the problem. Replacing is an option, is not the option. You want to go through the remediation process because down the line, these carriers connect these phone numbers to your brand and your brand becomes problematic, which is going to be a much harder thing to resolve.
Tell me about what are those behaviors that gets the number flagged as a spam?
So as we kind of talked about, you started the conversation with what's the most expensive myth, and I said equating more volume with more sales. First, running a lot of volume. Running a lot of volume, and this volume of calls is very short in duration. Short duration or calls that are auto-rejected by cell phones is the biggest problem. And we already talked about just don't call people who are not waiting to hear from you. If your leads are not opt-in and you just bought a list off of some website, just don't do it. That's not our business. But the main problem is you're calling people who are either not picking up or they have their phone set to not answer numbers that they don't know. So then the calls being short, if it's sub 6 seconds, that's one problem. If it's between 6 seconds and 1 minute, it's still considered short. That's another problem. And then running volume on a single phone number or a limited set of phone numbers, like let's say 10 phone numbers, is going to get you into hot water. These 3 packages, we do have branded caller ID, we do have local presence, and we do have NumberGuard. Now, we've packaged this in a framework called Pickup Stack. We get you clean numbers, we enroll you into local presence from day one. So you're calling across the nation, across the state. We have different area codes for different type of people that you're calling. Then we do monitor all your outbound calls with real calls, right? That's our NumberGuard. And then if you want, it's a premium offering, we can give you branded caller ID, which is the ultimate answer to this. Branded caller ID, I would say, is way more useful for when calling volume is low, but the value of the call is high. Local presence plus NumberGuard, useful for when you have higher call volume and you're pre-qualifying or you're following up, the value that you assign to each call is a little bit lower. So 2 separate things can be combined together for awesome results, really depending on use case. We have an entire team of professionals that will sit down with you across our sales and CSM team and review this and give you the best recommendations.
You have this very famous article, Engineering of Trust. That's essentially ways for the sales rep, tips and tricks for them to get the call picked up. Could you please walk us through that article?
So I remember 2023, I gave a little talk over at Twilio Signal. Our platform is obviously Twilio based. I give a talk, and back then this concept of shake and steer was very hot, that you need to sign your calls. Now, we sign all of our calls. We have been doing that from the get-go, but a lot of other platforms didn't, so their calls didn't make it to the carrier and from the carrier to the wireless mobile number, right? So I started with 2 concepts. First, try to just not fall into this trap of your number being labeled as a spam. And then second, this concept of double tap and 4XO, that you want to, every time that you, as a salesperson, BDR, SDR, you're calling a consumer, do this sequence exactly. Call once. If they don't pick up, don't leave a voicemail. Call twice. When people see 2 back-to-back calls, they pay attention. On the second call, if they don't pick up, leave a voicemail and then immediately follow up with an SMS. So let's double click into this and see what this does. This has nothing to do with the branded calling, local presence, and NumberGuard. You need to have that as a business, but this is about the salesperson's behavior and how they do it. First, the double tap part. People are much more likely to pick up if they're looking at their cell phone or their watch or whatever. People are much more likely to pick up when you call once, hang up if they don't answer, and then call twice, because they know and they feel you're creating a sense of urgency on the receiving end. If they're not looking at their phone, which happens to be a lot of us, our phones are on our desks or in our pockets, you leave a voicemail. Leaving a voicemail after a second call is a good idea because you want to deliver the message anyways. You don't want to just create. There is creating attention, and then there is leaving a mystery. I don't like mysteries, right? You leave a voicemail, now you run into some maybe like a slightly younger generation like me who does not listen to their voicemails, because if they need me, they will call me back. Send them a text. Now, Aloware, because it's all interconnected, Aloware sends a text out of the same phone number that you called from. So in the text, you introduce yourself, your company, and why you called. Now, what the phone does is next time that you call, it picks up your name from that text message and shows a little maybe Anoosh or maybe Ruby on the recipient's cell phone, which greatly increases your chance of being picked up. So what we're doing here with this simple thing that we called 4XO, call once, don't leave a voicemail, call twice, leave a voicemail, send a text message, 4 attempts in maybe 2 minutes, you're stacking up these attention points and this, hey, I have a message that I really need to deliver to you. I really want to speak with you. Either pick up or contact me. Now, with the contact me portion, because you've left a voicemail, you've sent a message, 80% of people just text you back, right? And Aloware numbers are calling and texting enabled. So you receive that text back and ta-da, win, you have a conversation with this customer, which is the intent. Like our older platform had a little title called Dial Less, Talk More, going back to the beginning of your set of questions, that we don't want people to make the maximum amount of calls with Aloware. There are a lot of other tools that would do 3-line calling, 10-to-1 calling. We are not that platform. We are very much just-in-time dialing, right? But our just-in-time gives you all different avenues and ways and methods that you drive up your engagements and your pickup rates and gets you in a conversation with the customer, which is our ultimate goal.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your time. These were absolutely helpful. I'm sure everybody that is watching this video will take your advices and see what happens. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.